Well, the Tea Party Express folks hope for another upset like in Alaska with Joe Miller. They're coming into town, into Delaware, and they're rolling in behind Christine O'Donnell, who is facing Mike Castle, congressman there from Delaware, for the Republican nomination. And it just so happens that Christine is on the line with us. Christine, how are you?
Hi, thank you for having me today, Phil.
It's my pleasure. So you came pretty close when you ran against Biden, right?
Well, we broke records. We did as well as the other Republican statewide challengers, and the significant thing is we got the most number of votes cast against Joe Biden ever, and we raised about $100,000 in 2008. He spent $5 million. So it's really exciting to see what's going on because of Mike Castle's personal attacks on me, they're backfiring, and we've raised half of what we raised in all of 2008 in just the 3 days since he started his attacks.
Well, let's talk about some of those. I mean, he said that you had a home foreclosed on and that you've been living off campaign contributions. How do you address that?
None of that is true. I've addressed it all on my website, Christine2010.com. I sold my home in 2008 because unlike Mike Castle, unlike Joe Biden, I'm not an incumbent, so when I'm campaigning, I don't have a taxpayer check to pay my bills, but I counted the cost, I looked at the direction our country was headed, I made the decision to sell my home so that I would be personally free of all debt and financially in a situation to campaign. I guess that dumbfounds career politicians who are just used to having incumbent paychecks to live off of.
So your home was not foreclosed on?
No, it was not foreclosed, and I posted the private mortgage letter on my website to just end that rumor. And it's a shame because Castle knows the truth, and he just continues to circulate it because he's a desperate, big-spending, liberal career politician who just happens to be a Republican. It wasn't true when he first tried to throw it at me at March. It's not true now. It didn't work then, and it's not working now. Again, because we just got more poll results, and from yesterday till today, I'm ahead. I'm up again. So it's not working, but he's got nothing else to use. We're just 2 points behind, and with the margin of error, you could very easily say that polling has us truly scientifically neck and neck. So if anyone wants to see the proof of that, go to Christine2010.com. Click on the boxing gloves that say Christine Counters. While you're there, make a donation. While you're there, help us buy some radio ads to counter this. We're neck and neck. We need to pull out ahead in the last couple days and make sure that we win.
Now, I talked with the Tea Party Express folks when they were up in Alaska, and quite frankly, I'd never heard of you. I'd never even heard of Joe Miller. And they were talking about this guy, and then all of a sudden, this guy comes from behind, and wham! I mean, he just slaps it to Lisa Murkowski. So you're hoping the same thing's going to happen here. I guess they're in town, and they have quite the network and quite the infrastructure to do this, don't they?
Absolutely, and I'm so thrilled. Ever since they landed in town, momentum has changed. They came to Delaware. The Joe Miller announcement happened, and polling started showing us that all of our hard work is not in vain, and it has just changed the momentum. And it's funny because last night the Democratic opponent released his first press release attacking me, and it's like, hey, the Democrats see the writing on the wall that I could be the general election candidate. Why can't Mike Castle? So things are really getting exciting here in Delaware. Mike Castle is the most liberal Republican. He voted for TARP. He voted for cap and trade. He voted for the stimulus bills. This past summer, he voted with Barack Obama on just about every major bill, and it's almost comical because he's running he's calling himself a pro-life fiscal or pro-family. He's not taking the flat-out position of saying pro-life, but he's calling himself a pro-family fiscal conservative, and it's just comical because he's not. He's got an F from the NRA. He's got an F from all the social groups. He's the worst from Club for Growth, so it's just funny. It's becoming a lot of fun here.
So it seems like you've got him a little bit scared.
Exactly. A little skin, did you say?
A little scared.
Oh, he's
they're
not
frightened.
A little scared.
Yes, they're frightened. They're running
scared.
Well, look, Christine, it seems to me That if these guys are out there saying things that aren't true about you, if they're saying that you were foreclosed on, you weren't, and these other things, I'm assuming that the accusation that you've been living off your campaign funds is not true either, right?
No, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. What they're trying to twist is that, we've got a lot of people working on our campaign from downstate and people from out of state, and you put them up in housing. Campaigns with multi-million-dollar war chests usually just rent hotels. We can't afford to do that. So what we did was the fiscally conservative thing to rent a townhouse. The basement and the first floor are our campaign offices, and the staff lives upstairs. So they're trying to twist that. It's, they're grasping at straws because they know that the Delaware voters are tired of politicians like Mike Castle who are not listening to them, and they know that we can't spend our way to recovery and tax our way to prosperity. Yet that's what Barack Obama's proposing, and that's what Mike Castle's supporting. And citizen politicians like me are saying, stop the madness. We need to create real growth based on the private sector. The best thing the government can do is to get out of the way of the small business owner, get out of the way of the entrepreneur, and bring about authentic economic growth. And that scares them, because if we do that, it means we're going to bust up the backroom deals. And, there was a great report out in American Spectator that talks about cap and trade and how Mike Castle, who is a Republican, who supports cap and trade, all of his, folks who are lining his campaign coffers stand to make 7-figure kickbacks if cap and trade is passed. So the reason that this campaign is so significant and why they're scared, they're not just losing a career politician seat, they could be losing cap and trade, because with this election being a special election for the U.S. Senate seat once held by Joe Biden, the winner gets sworn in the day after Election Day.
Right. They don't have to. So when the lame duck Congress comes in, that
exactly,
whoever's going to be there is going to be there then.
Exactly. And cap and trade is definitely going to come up.
Right.
Harry Reid talked about, he's going to call it something else, but rest assured it's going to do exactly what cap and trade does. So this could be that 41st vote that could, that filibuster vote. So it's high stakes here. That's why they're scared. That's why they're pushing back so hard.
Sounds like they ought to be scared. So is Delaware normally a fairly liberal state?
Our politicians are liberal, but if you look at the polling, the Delaware voters are not. Whether it's Rasmussen or any other organization, it's center-right. Our voters here in Delaware are center-right. But up until recently, who's going to run has been determined by the state parties making backroom deals and, running candidates who just do not reflect the Delaware voters' wishes. And the proof behind that is in the fact that we have barely hit. We've probably raised about $300,000 so far this election cycle. I am neck and neck with Mike Castle in the primary and 2 points ahead in the general election, according to some Rasmussen polls. Both of those men are multimillionaires. Both of those men have million-dollar war chests. I've barely raised $250,000, and it's because my message is resonating with the Delaware voters. So that's proof that this polling is right. The folks in Delaware are center-right, and they want someone to represent them. They want to be heard. And thanks to the hard work of my campaign team, our message is getting out there, and it's resonating with the voters.
The state Republican Party chairman, Tom Ross, has said you couldn't get elected dog catcher.
Oh, well, you know what? You know who else has been called unelectable? Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
So I'll take that, Tom, but I'll tell you what, as I go up and down the campaign trail, it really is a shame what Tom Ross is doing, because his behavior is very unbecoming for a state chairman. He has right now local state rep candidates and state senate candidates who do not have primaries, and this kind of mudslinging is impacting them. So as Tom Ross sits there and makes nasty comments, trying to attack me because I'm not a multimillionaire, trying to make an issue of the fact that it took me 12 years to pay off my student loans, it's also affecting the voters that these other Republican candidates want to turn out to them. So,
yeah, why is that a big deal with them that it took you so long to pay off student loans? I mean, that to me, there's no shame in that.
They are desperate. They're grasping at straws. What are they going to say? Christine O'Donnell thinks that we should have a constitutionally based limited government.
Right.
Christine O'Donnell thinks that we should keep taxes low to increase revenue. I mean, what are they going to come out at me with?
But it's odd, though, Christine, that you've got the party chairman that's taking sides in a primary. That normally doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen, and that's why I say, shame on Tom Ross. It's unbecoming of him. We released a press release today officially denouncing the mudslinging because, unfortunately, some groups like Liberty.com have started throwing mud back at Mike Castle. So I sent out a press release today saying that I officially denounce that sort of mudslinging. I'm asking all of my supporters, conservative bloggers or otherwise, not to do that, and I challenged Mike Castle to do the same, to publicly denounce Tom Ross's mudslinging and to call off the Republican State Committee because it hurts the Republican Party. It hurts the conservative movement. We've got good principles. The principles on which our party was founded just also happen to be the principles on which our nation was founded. And what we should be debating is whether or not Republicans like Mike Castle reflect that.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it really boils down to, do you want somebody who took 12 years to pay off for student loans or somebody who voted for cap and trade, TARP, and the stimulus bill?
Exactly. And not only that, you look at the social record. He's co-sponsored the bill to call for embryonic stem cell research, has sponsored a lot of the abortion or voted for a lot of the funding for abortion overseas. I mean, he's got an F across the board, F from the NRA. So if Mike Castle's vision for the Republican Party is to become more like the Democratic Party and he thinks that's how we're going to win elections, fine. Let him stand on a platform with me and we will debate which issues best represent the Republican Party.
But he's not going to debate you, is he?
No, he's not going to debate me because he knows he doesn't have a record he can defend. In this time right now, all Americans, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Independent, look at the irresponsible spending. They know that every time we pass another stimulus bill that Mike Castle keeps supporting, we're increasing our debt. Our debt, our national debt, is just about, it's in the 90 percentile, equaling what our national GDP is. When a country's debt equals its GDP, that's when your currency collapses. That's when your market collapses. It's tragic, but our career, big spending, liberal politicians have truly brought our country to the brink of bankruptcy, and Mike Castle can't defend why he continues to support these big spending bills when most common sense men and women of America, most common sense men and women in Delaware know that is not sustainable. So he won't debate me because he can't defend his record.
Well, you can find out more about Christine O'Donnell. It's Christine2010.com, correct?
That's right, Christine2010.com.
All right, Christine O'Donnell, appreciate it very much, and good luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you. If I could just say one more thing, because Delaware is a small state with a small voter turnout, giving $100 to this race is like giving $1,000 to Marco Rubio. So in these last couple weeks, we need everybody's help. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself to your listeners.
All right, Christine, thank you.
Thank you, Phil.